All right. We have spoken a little bit about, the MVP in the NFL. It's obviously, week 8 now or heading into week 9. Beginning week 9, actually, tonight's game between the Steelers and the Titans. And Tua is the odds-on favorite, followed by Patrick Mahomes. But Tyreek Hill, because he is on a record-setting pace, he is on pace to become the first wide receiver or player, period, to have 2,000 receiving yards in a season. And he's on pace, Rob, to do it in 16 games. So, a lot of people might point to, well, other receivers only had 16 games to do it. Calvin Johnson, who currently holds the record. But even though Tyreek will have 17, he might break it in 16. At least he's on that pace right now. So there's been some talk about him deserving some MVP candidacy, and he's talked about it today. Here's what he said. Oh, we don't have the sound. Rob G, read to us what Tyreek said about it.
Well, he was asked about it again, as you mentioned, Chris, and Tyreek Hill, being the comedian that he is, kind of downplayed the whole thing. And he said, they asked him, do you have a chance to win MVP? He said, no, because we have a player on our team that's better than me and means more to this team. And his name is Alec Ingold. He's the fullback.
Yeah, obviously he's making light of this situation. But, Rob, where are you at on this? Like I said, Tua is the MVP frontrunner right now. And Patrick Mahomes, for all the hand-wringing about how much he struggled, he's second right now.
That's only off of reputation. That's what that's from.
I
don't think he's an MVP this
right
year.
Now. Who's second, though?
Yeah, I don't know, but I'm just saying. But it's off of reputation.
Nobody's having, if you look at Josh Allen, and Jalen has come on the last couple games, but it can't be Trevor Lawrence. His team's not, this team's playing great, but he's only got 9 touchdown passes. So, yeah, I mean, there's really, Kirk Cousins just got hurt, but his team wasn't really winning. So, yeah, I mean, I think Mahomes, if you just look at quarterbacks, good argument for him to be second. But what are your thoughts on Tyreek as far as that?
I just think it's a very hard thing for a wide receiver to be the MVP. Because if you put up incredible numbers, then somebody just threw you the ball for those incredible numbers. So you have to. So that might even split the vote, Chris. Some people think, wow, the quarterback
that could happen.
The quarterback had a great year, and then the other guys go, oh, the wide receiver was unbelievable. That's why I think it's very difficult. And I'll give you examples. Michael Thomas set a record for receptions, right, with the Saints, Chris.
Right.
Rob G, how many votes did he get? 0, Chris. Set an all-time record. 0 votes.
Yeah,
Cooper
but that
Kupp,
reception catches.
Cooper Kupp put together an unbelievable season as well. Triple crown for receiving, Chris. He got 1 vote. And that's what I'm saying is unless it's something that you're doing along with getting passes from the quarterback, you're doing something else. That's why it's more apt for a running back, because you're the one getting the yards and you're not relying on anybody. You don't give the quarterback credit for handing you the ball if you get all those yards, and that's why I think, who was it, for the Vikings? He's the one, the last
Adrian
one.
Peterson?
AP, yeah.
He was the last running back.
And that was 2012.
Yeah.
That was 20. But I'm saying
running backs used to win it regularly.
Yeah. I just think it's hard for a wide receiver because the vote can be split.
Well, not just because the vote can be, but you're right. Like Jerry Rice, the one year he got a decent number of votes, he and Montana split the vote. And John Elway ended up winning it with stats that weren't sensational.
Let me just give you Thomas's stats that year, Chris, and I know 2019, 149 catches, 1,725 yards, 9 touchdowns, and he didn't even get a single vote. 9 touchdowns isn't a huge amount, and he only averaged 11.5 yards a catch that year. So yeah, but no votes. I'm just saying, I get it. He was going to win the MVP.
You're right in that it's hard for a receiver to win the MVP, and it may never happen. But what I would say is and this isn't, everybody doesn't see every game, Rob. I watch every game because of the job now, but even every, reporter doesn't see every game. They may cover one team. They may be at the games and stuff like that. To me, when you watch Miami, and I don't want to take anything away from Tua, he very well may win the MVP. But when I watch that team, the game breaker, the guy that really makes everything click is Tyreek Hill. I think his speed is just turns the game upside down, and it's like a safety valve for Tua. And he obviously catches a lot of long balls from Tua that Tua places very well.
So did Patrick Mahomes deserve his MVPs when he won it? Was it Tyreek?
Yeah,
no?
I mean, Tyreek wasn't Rob, Tyreek didn't do this with Patrick Mahomes. I mean, if you just look at his numbers, he didn't put up these types of numbers with Mahomes.
But so he was an unstoppable source, though.
Yeah, but he wasn't like that. I mean, he was. Nobody was looking at Tyreek Hill when he was with Kansas City saying he's one of the greatest receivers ever. I think now people are starting to think that because it's just been, the numbers have been crazy, much better. He never averaged 100 yards receiving in a year with Miami. I'm sorry, with Kansas City. He never averaged 100 yards a game receiving with Kansas City in 6 years that he was there. Miami, he's done it both years. Last year was 100. This year it's a record 126.8. But I think the fact, I think his speed opens things up for the run game. They had freaking Devon Achane averaging 12 yards a carry. I mean, he opened up so much for their run game too. And I think he's to win it as a receiver, and it looks like he won't because he's not even where Rob's see where he's at in the odds, but it's low. But I think you definitely have to break a record or do something that we've never seen. And again, Thomas broke the receiving record for receptions, but only averaged 11.5 yards a game. Tyreek's averaging 16.5 right now, and yards per catch. And he's going, like I said, he's on pace to become the first 2,000-yard receiver. So I think that's significant. But let me say this quickly, Rob. One thing that I do think hurts him, besides just the fact that he's a receiver, is that I think there are some, and you're hearing it a little, there are some that don't even think he's the best receiver right now. And I don't mean over the last several years. I mean this year. A.J. Brown is getting a whole lot of love, and deservedly so. And he's averaging 117 yards a game, not on pace to get 2,016 games like Tyreek is, but he's close. And so I think, again, if you're going to win it as a receiver, you got to be head and shoulders above every other receiver. I think it has to be a year where no quarterback is blowing everybody away. And I do think that part is being met, right? I don't think any quarterback is just having a historic blow you away season. Tua, Mahomes, none of them. They're not having bad seasons, but nobody's he's just running away with it, So I think, but those are my feelings about this.
Yeah, I just think that people will hold it against the receiver, that somebody's getting you the ball. And I just think that's what you have to overcome. And I get all the other stuff. If he continues to do it in his numbers, then Tua's going to get some credit as the guy who got him the football. And I don't know what his winning numbers are, right? If he's getting all these yards and whatnot, Tua's going to be a part of that as far as getting the yards for throwing the football. So I just think that there's a natural, and you talked about it before with Jerry Rice and Joe Montana, and Elway won the award because it's split.
Yep.
I think that's the hard part.
Rob G, where are you at on this? I think the MVP right now of the Dolphins is definitely Tyreek. Well, let me ask you this, Rob.
Rob G or Rob?
Rob Parker, Rob P. You've heard me before, and I think it's a great idea. I think they do need to create the equivalent of the Cy Young Award
So the
for quarterbacks.
Is it Johnny Unitas or Bart Starr, or you know what I mean? You'd have to take one of those legendary names, right?
Whoever you want to,
Just off the top of your head, who would you pick? Johnny Unitas or Bart Starr? Are those the two?
I would say I think I'll take Unitas over
Johnny
Starr.
Unitas, yeah.
Otto Graham won a lot, but he probably Unitas.
Yeah.
But Rob, I think because I don't think the MVP should just be a quarterback award. I don't feel that way. And it doesn't have to just be a receiver or running back or quarterback award. Now, defensively, I think some defensive players should be able to win it. We don't see many win Heismans. We don't see many win MVPs. I get that, but I don't think it should be relegated to one position.
No, it shouldn't be, because that's not what the award is supposed to be. But because of the way that the game is played, and look at the other defensive players who really can't get an opportunity, right? I mean, it is swayed, and the problem, Chris, is that the game has changed so much that passing every down. Look at all the numbers. We talked about it, all of these middle-of-the-road quarterbacks who have better numbers than all-time greats because they throw the football. So that can't be just the reason why you're picking quarterbacks.
See, I would argue, too, that when running backs and quarterbacks, for the most part, were winning it, the running back position was a bigger part of the game. It was almost...
Oh, it was way bigger.
Right,
no
and
doubt.
the receiver position has become maybe what the running back position
No, that's
used to be.
definitely happened. It's
So-
switched because when we talk about the old days and Barry Sanders and O.J. Simpson and Tony
Jim
Dorsett
Brown,
and Jim Brown and
Walter Payton.
I mean, we could go on and on and on about all of it. Every team had a great running back, Chris. Earl Campbell, everybody.
Yep. And that's the thing. So I think that's why I would think it would help a receiver maybe to win one, because that's kind of become what the running back position used to be.